Don't pressurize yourself. Don't overdo things. Allow your energy to relax because things are already playing out and your confidence does that for you. Hello, Capricorn. My name is Kristen Simone Hansen, and welcome to SeaGoat Secrets. Hi Capricorn, I'm Kristen and I'm a healer. In this video, you are going to get a full rundown of Capricorn energy for the month of November and how it affects you. I begin with the astrology and I end with a card reading. If at any point in this video you feel connected to me and would like to become a client of mine, you can do so by joining this link here and also in the bio. I welcome you. And as you all know, I am a global citizen, and if you have not already, let me know where you're listening from in the comments and we can all connect and be a strong collective. Now, with all that being said, let's get into this. So, hello Capricorn, here we are in the month of November, which is wonderful. Because, you know, all year it's been moment after moment of slowly waiting until this month of Pluto finally saying goodbye for all of eternity finds you. You know, we see the propaganda of, 250 years and all of these things when it comes to this energy. This is all very true. Capricorn will not re-enter Pluto for a very long time. And it also is the end of an era, meaning an era of renewal for all of us, really. But now Pluto is going into Aquarius, and it's now time for refinement when it comes to Aquarian energy, as well as us being in the age of Aquarius, which prior we were in the age of Pisces. This Capricorn Pluto ended the Pisces age and welcomed us into the Aquarian age, and we're saying hello to the Aquarian age through the Aquarian Pluto. So it's all very amazing, right? We decided to come here to experience this life exactly as it is right now, to go through the paradigm shift exactly as we are doing it. And most importantly, you guys decided to come as you are to lead yourself into, frankly, being leaders of the new paradigm, helping people understand the journey of transition and also healing through your own modalities and your own ways. And I've spoken about this before in the healing video, which I guess I will link here. Healing video, leaders of the new world video, and what all of that means in terms of Capricorn's new role in the paradigm. So let's look at and revisit the month of October and what it is that we saw there and how this led us into the month of November. So in the month of October, things have been, let's say, I don't want to say eerie, but it's more like an energy of this intersectional dance between light and almost shadowy. So I wouldn't say October was a heavy month for you guys. It was, the Libra new moon was heavy. The Libra new moon was an intense moon for all of the collective, but especially for you guys as Capricorns, because it put you in a space where you had to re-identify yourself and understand yourself on a scale that maybe was extremely uncomfortable. Throughout the month of October, you became hyper aware of the ways in which you were standing in your own way when it came to career and your finances, but mostly rooted in your career, your social presence, your social identity, and how your social identity played a role in the experiences that you might have had. A lot of you could have been dealing with political matters, political issues, socially, politically, or world stage politics. But again, it's all reflective of your own identity and the role that you play in the societal plane. You guys are becoming hyper aware of who you, well, I keep saying it, but who it is that you are. But again, the impact that has on the world around you and how you can get in control of that narrative. And a lot of this has to do with Capricorn being in retrograde. So old topics. So things that you felt like you maybe haven't had to deal with in a very long time being things that you've had to deal with throughout the month of October. Arguments that you haven't had in a long time. discussions, conversations, things that have felt like they were behind you, came back up to find you. Again, asking for this revisitation. Family matters could have come up. A lot of things tied to the past, especially what's going on with the Aries, Chiron, the Pluto, Capricorn going from retrograde into direction, and then also Saturn still being in retrograde. So again, all of these matters, and the overarching Libra energy eventually going into Scorpio energy, which was making you hyper aware again of your identity in comparison to all of these different subjects. What role did you really play in your family? What role did you really play in your society? What role do you play in your neighborhood? What role do you play in the social political plane? And also, what role do you play in your romantic relationship? So all of these things coming up. And again, your shortcomings career-wise or identity-wise, looks-wise as well, feeling like you wanted to represent yourself better in the world, but maybe feeling insecure about it. Some of you could have gone through major beauty upgrades during the month of October, but still kind of struggling with seeing yourself clearly. All of this is going to be eased out in November, which is going to feel very good. So from there, let's go into November. October is leaving you in an energy where you don't necessarily feel very heavy, but you kind of feel ready. Let's say that. You might be a little intimidated about maybe the month of November and some of the things that you are going off to do, whether it's that you recently ended relationships or certain relationships ended for you and you kind of don't know what steps you will take, or legal matters, or again, political matters. Okay, so from here, let's go into November. So to start, the overarching energy for November is change for you. Big change, big transformation. Great release, because we're looking at Pluto exiting your sign. But this is not something that's going to happen or really be felt until the end of November. All right. So but you're feeling the beginning of it. You're feeling like things are ending. You're feeling that there's like this feeling inside of you that it's telling you that things are different. You know, you won't have to go through this again. You won't have to see these kinds of people again. This story won't come up again. And for others of you, if it can be that you're dealing with heavy matters, it can feel like maybe the life as you once knew it will no longer be. And maybe that can be causing you some fear, worry, or difficulty, especially in terms of legal matters. But we're going to start with week 1. We've got the new moon in Scorpio, Jupiter sextiling Chiron, Mercury enters Sagittarius, Mars goes into Leo, and we're having a first quarter moon in Aqua. This is all happening throughout the 3rd to the 9th. Well, I guess let's say the 1st to the 9th. So the thing about all of this energy, especially when we're looking at the Scorpio new moon, this is I won't dive super deep into it because I can just link that video here in terms of Scorpio new moon. But obviously this is a renewal tied to your social matters. So in October, it was more like you having to revisit who it is that you are and how you show up. In November, it's more about the stabilization, the practicalization of showing the world who it is that you are, feeling more in control of your social dynamics and actually exercising what it is that you want and need when it comes to relating to other people around you. You're getting a spike in your identity, but you're also getting a spike in your personal empowerment, okay? And that's the energy that's going to push you into the first week of October and the first finished week as well. So like I said, the 9th through, let's just think the 1st through the 9th. And this is awakening this like fire in you, saying, you know, I can do this, I can be this, I can have this, I deserve this, I will show this, you know, different things like that. This almost like renewed passion. But again, especially, this is not the career reading, and so we'll dive into this in terms of the career reading, but big, confident movements forward when it comes to the career. Like, you know who you are and you need to get in the power seat. How have you been giving your power away? That's another big conversation that shows up in November for you to actually get on the other side of what it means to give your power away. You need to know who you are. You are not the victim, right? And that's a big conversation for you. How can you step out of victimization? With Jupiter sextiling Chiron, it because Jupiter is in Gemini, which is in your 6th house. Chiron is in Aries, which is your 4th house. So the way in which this comes together asks you to, again, sit in the power seat. So the subjects that have been causing you shadow, pain, sadness, all of these things that were coming up in October, you now have the momentum to finish them in November. So big for legal matters, big for senses of personal empowerment, ways in which you felt disempowered before, you can now feel empowered because you know where you're sitting. Your confidence is different. Your standards are different. Now that you know what your power is, what will you do with it? That's my biggest suggestion during this time in terms of this energy. And you're also having conversations about this, the things that are running through your subconscious mind, because Mercury in Sagittarius is in detriment. It can mean that everyone around you is speaking very bluntly, very coldly, too straightforward to a point of discomfort. Or on the other side, on the more healthy side, Mercury in Sagittarius can be someone that tries so hard to be understood that they end up speaking in an optimum kind of way, really wanting to say the right thing in such a beautiful way that their voices can actually be easy on the ears. And this is where you can find your empowerment, because instead of feeling like a victim to things that once made you feel disempowered, the Mars-Mercury combination is saying, or you can revisit things in a way where you slow down and really focus on being understood. Really take what's in your subconscious, what it is that you really want to say, and the bare bones of who it is that you are, and say it outwardly, but do it in a way that is, yes, honest and authentic, but you can slow down. Right? You are in charge. You have the power. That's what this energy is saying to you. It's a renewal in understanding the way that people actually see you, not the way you perceived it, not the way you thought it, not the level of disempowerment that you once had, but from a different space. Now that you are on top, what will you do? It all begins inside of you. And I mentioned this previously in another video, but the wonderful gift of Scorpio season for all this 11th house activation for you is because it understands social dominance, because Scorpio is very good at knowing the depths of its personal power. Scorpio is very good at going within and taking what's within and bringing it out. Capricorn oftentimes can misconstrue its authority, its great 10th house powerhouse energy, and you guys can often submissify yourselves if you feel like you're in a space that makes you feel insecure and not always understand the social dominance that you have. Just because you might be ostracized does not mean that you are weak. And Scorpio is coming in, making it so that you are aware of where you stand. How have you looked at things through the viewpoint of you being smaller in it and not realizing that it's actually because you're bigger? Was the person, did they hate you or were they jealous of you? Did it resist you, or was it afraid of being rejected by you? So we take that energy into week 2, again, this like burst of power that finds you in the beginning of the month. And we go into week 2, we have Venus entering Capricorn. Venus enters Capricorn, Saturn goes direct, and full moon, we have a full moon going into Taurus. So when we look at this energy into week 2, so you awaken yourself to who it is you are in week 1, and the different elements and layers of what it is that means and what you can create and where your personal power comes in. And then in week 2, we see that you are now taking that power and beautifying it when Venus goes into your sign. You guys, every year when Venus goes into your sign, you get this rush of perspective, right? And sometimes it can be brought about with insecurity, but this time around, you know who it is that you are. You have an awareness of who it is that you are, right? Saturn is going direct at the exact same time, so you're not having to go back to that wounds equal wisdom energy that you have been doing with the Pisces retrograde. That video can be found here. So that wounds equaling wisdom, you've learned all it is that you've needed to learn during this Pisces Saturn. And it taught you so much about your social life, about your neighborhood, about how other people relate to you, your sibling relationships. Who do you spend your day-to-day time with? Some of you could have gone through major breakups, changed out your social circles, especially for you guys with Scorpio placements. The Scorpio placements, this has been more of a recent thing in terms of having your social circles crash down. That began for you guys in August, and I think going to be continuing throughout the rest of the year, but really got its highlight when Capricorn went into Pluto in terms of you guys having to wash out your social circles. But Venus going into Capricorn and Saturn going direct, you guys are now in a space where it's like, okay, you learned everything that you needed to learn in terms of who needs to stay, who needs to go, old karmic patterns tied to your social life, karmic patterns tied to the way your social life connects to your ability to be home within the body. And now that you're understanding your value in this scenario, did they actually hate you, or were they simply envious? Did they reject you, or was it there's something else going on where they felt like maybe you were going to reject them? All of these different things underneath the surface make it so that you get a newfound sense of confidence, right? You're seeing yourself through a more beautiful lens. Wow, I'm empowered now. I know my worth, right? I know my value. So what would I do with it? Right. And this Venus in Capricorn has you beautifying yourself. A lot of you guys are going to be focused on your looks, your hair, especially hair for Venus, changing your hair, changing up your look, less focused on wanting to be understood through your look. You already kind of went through that this year. It's more like you just want to feel confident, just a strong, grounded sense of, I got this. I know who I am. I like who I am. And that energy is going to come in rushing very beautifully as you're continuing this sense of personal power. And when Saturn goes direct, things with your neighborhood, your relationships, your close quarters are going to feel a lot easier. You know how to talk to people now. You know how to show up now. You're feeling more of a social dominance. You know how people like you, and you know how to make people like you. You know how to get them to like you. And you know how to use that that charm, right? Where maybe previously you might have felt awkward. You might have felt like you didn't belong. You might have felt ostracized. The greatest gift of the new era is like I've mentioned so many times, Capricorn is much more accepted in the age of Aquarius and in the Pluto Aquarian age than they were previously. Okay. And that's what's so lovely about this. And you know your worth in the social world now. We see this happening next to a full moon going into Taurus, which is wonderful because the full moon going into Taurus gives you, again, a sensual awareness. So with Venus in Capricorn and the full moon being in Taurus, sex is going to be great. Okay. This is not the relationship reading. Of course, like I said, this is a personal reading. So I will leave most of that for that. But in terms of you just awakening your own sensual body, not in terms of your relationships with the love and relationships reading, but you feeling more sensual, you feeling very attractive, more alive, more earthy in your energy, that beautiful sensual earthy groundedness that Capricorn tends to have in terms of its attractiveness comes up to find you, ending old themes tied to things that we dealt with during Taurus season, renewals in how you wanted to feel about beautifying yourself. We talked about this months ago. I'll link that here. That is coming up again, and you're seeing a stabilized viewpoint of it. Things that you may have wanted to do with your body, or the way people perceived you, or how empowered you want to feel tied to your looks and your sensual energy. This is closing out during this time period. So again, the reason why I'm mentioning sex in the personal reading is because your sexuality can be a way in which you start to feel very empowered during that second week and really through the next 2 weeks after, through the remainder of the month. But leaning into sensuality and sexuality will be a great space where you can find your own healing. Sexual energy is obviously healing in its own right, but this time it's really just about you healing through self-identity, through feeling more grounded and comfortable in your own skin and finding that confidence. And again, your power, knowing your power, knowing your worth and your wealth in that sense, and your abundance in your sensual energy. People will be finding themselves being very attracted to you as well. People will be drawn to you, and you'll feel that, and it'll, again, pour more into you, add more to you. There's a lot of abundant growth this month for you guys. Really, really good. As we go into week 3, we see Pluto finally entering Aquarius. You are free for life, for good. Never again will you go through this. We've got the sun going into Sagittarius, and the last quarter moon is in Virgo. And this is happening during week 3. So this is the big release that we were talking about, the big just weight lift of You know, it's like the breath of fresh air that'll find you just easing out, you know. You're already kind of feeling more blessed as you're going into November. The divine is being very kind to you during this time. For those of you who do ritual practices, I know I always have my book of rituals, my book of shadows, and some of the things to do with yourself while Pluto goes into Aquarius. I'll do a video for that. I'll actually do a live when it comes to this in terms of releasing. You want to really put to bed and leave behind you the things that took place during the last era. Pluto being in Capricorn is all about your transformation. Don't resent it. Embrace it. Love it, because you wouldn't be who it is that you are right now if it wasn't for all of that pain, torture, difficulty, growth through opposition. We come to Earth to grow, and the more we have opposing energies, the more we grow, the more we expand. Okay, so it's sending it off in a way that is beautiful, and then also understanding that it was a gift, and then sending it off in a way that is beautiful, and also putting out the intentionality that all that was there stays there. Let it stay on the dance floor. Don't bring it in to the next chapter. You know, whatever it is that you can leave behind you, let it be left behind you. As the sun goes into Sagittarius during that time, it puts you into awakening in your subconscious. So we're looking at a lot of yang energy. We're now back in a yang era. And with sun being in Sag, we're moving out of yin Scorpio. So the energy will just immediately lighten up. You're going to feel a quick weight lift, a quick shift. You know, things aren't going to feel so shadowy. Even though we're in the depths of winter, it's almost like the sun comes out. You know, things are a little bit more magical. When we see the last quarter happening in Virgo during that same time, Virgo is your 9th house. So again, we're looking at more things tied to this fire energy. What's going on in your subconscious mind? The two are intersectional. For you, the sun in Sagittarius is your 12th house in terms of your subconscious. Pluto is in your 2nd house, and Virgo sits in your 9th house. So the thing is, when this energy finds you, obviously it's going to feel like a great release and weight lift. You're going to be looking at things, especially with the last quarter moon in Virgo, looking back at September during Virgo season and seeing how finally you feel stable. If you guys moved during that time, you're going to find yourself during week 3 actually starting to feel like, you're home. If you guys got into new relationships, whatever it is that you did during that Virgo season that made it so that you had to go expansive. So again, for a lot of you, it was getting into relationships with people that were far reaching from you, or there was a language barrier or cultural barriers. For others of you, it was moving jobs, moving positions, all of those expansive ways of thinking that you were thinking of when Capricorn first entered into Pluto. Look at all the ways in which you've changed and transformed to be where it is that you are right now during week 3, which is all of the energy and effort that you put into transforming your life during this last moment of Pluto being in your sign. You're looking back and you're seeing how you did it. I love my home. I love my relationship. I love my position. I love what I've done with my work. I love how I refined myself to get to where it is that I am right now. And it's going to feel very good. I definitely suggest doing that during week 3. Week 3 in general is just a good time to really sit with yourself and bask in your energy, bask in your accomplishments. Before you think, okay, what will I do next? I definitely suggest week 3 of November is kind of just like looking back and allowing yourself to really appreciate what it is that's around you, especially because Sagittarius is your subconscious 12th house. So your mind is going to be on what it is that you can do for yourself in terms of what it is that you can have next, all of your dreams, all of your aspirations. So while you're in this dream state, I just suggest patting yourself on the back so you don't get too lost in the next steps, but allow yourself to be rooted in the right now. Allow whatever reliefs that find you to come in and be truly appreciated or valued. We'll get into it with the career reading, but for some of you, you can find yourself going through relief in legal matters during that time as well. When we go into the 4th week and the 4th and final week, we've got Mercury going into Sagittarius in retrograde. So again, this is you stepping back into your own mental. We're now in Sagittarius season. Mercury is now retrograde in Sagittarius. So it's all the things going on in the subconscious mind. Again, dream state. For a lot of you, it's just more you thinking about what you want now on the horizon versus what it is that you've been able to create for yourself up until this point. The energy in itself is a little shadowy. But it's not a bad shadowy. It's more like if you do not get on top of it properly, if you do not catch yourself, You may find yourself feeling ungrateful about your own, let's say, accomplishments, right? And when we're sitting here in the personal reading, this is not about your career accomplishments or your love accomplishments, but this is about your accomplishments with your personal self. This month of November is all about personal empowerment. Okay, it's about really understanding your value. After all is said and done, it created you to be who it is that you are right now for a reason. Pluto was the greatest gift that ever happened to you, even though it feels like the worst, because you wouldn't be where it is that you are right now, like I keep saying, if it wasn't for all of this transitional assistance. Let's say that. And so, yeah, you're going to feel a lot of emotional weight lift. By the end of the month, it is going to be this kind of awareness of the chapter is gone, as if what's old is actually old this time and you don't have to do it again. You don't have to repeat it again. There's something about you that's going to feel renewed and ready, and like you're stepping into a more balanced time of your life, which leads you into a very, I would say, kind of a magical and prosperous and a very stable December. A lot of random reliefs are going to find you, especially luck from the beginning of November, because with Jupiter going sextiling Chiron, a lot of you guys can get random gifts because of who it is that you are, right? People seeing you for who it is that you are, your hard work, what it is that you do, and just wanting to give things to you, gift them to you without you having to do much, but with you simply being yourself. Right? You're understanding that you being you is actually the answer to what it is that you've been needing this entire time. Okay. And that's the biggest, I would say, personal awareness that finds you during the month of November, which is no longer feeling like you are a victim to yourself. Now, we still see Chiron is still retrograde in Aries during this time. So it's not to say things are going to be perfect, but it's more like this understanding of if you are in front of a fight, or if you're in front of a situation that you have to find your way out of, or again, step into the power seat to navigate, it's understanding that actually you have more power in this situation than you think. That actually you are worth more than you originally anticipated. And there are other options that you weren't necessarily seeing, and you can do more with who you are than what it is that you have. Okay. And that's the biggest thing. Regardless of what you have in your hands, you are it. You are the answer, right? The career reading is going to be very interesting because there is a lot to be said in terms of career growth during this time, but strictly with the personal reading, personal power. That's the theme. Okay, so I love you, and we're going to get into the reading now. All right, so hello, Capricorn. Let's get into this. This is your personal reading for the month of November. So the thing about this energy, which I'm loving so far, is we see the King of Wands here with the Eight of Wands and the Six of Swords. So we're looking at strong senses of personal power, personal empowerment, a lot of the things that we talked about during the astrology. When we see the King of Wands, you're talking about one strong masculine energy. You're talking about intense confidence. And I mean, it's not the Emperor energy, right? But usually the Emperor is an indication that you have to do something. You have to get something done. You know, you have to put on your, like I say, your big boss pants, right? The King of Wands is less about that for me. The King of Wands is more of an indication that confidence is the, how do you say, the remedy. You know, confidence is the remedy. Walking into a room, knowing that you're attractive, knowing that you're the star, doing it just because. It's not necessarily about what the King of Wands does, but it's more about who the King of Wands is. This is a dynamic character. And it's married here with the Eight of Wands, which I think is, again, fast movement, quick movement, intensity, so much fire. It's like, it just feels like passion. It feels like, yes, it feels like movement, but most importantly, it feels vivacious. It feels light. It feels, but not the kind of lighthearted, because obviously we see here with the Six of Swords, so you're healing. You're moving forward. You're moving on. But we don't see great healing like the star. We don't see moving on with the Eight of Cups into wish fulfillment. But the thing about the Six of Swords with Aquarian energy, a lot of the time, especially when it merges itself with other masculine energies like the King of Wands and the Eight of Wands, it actually can be kind of like a dust it off kind of energy, you know, just dust it off, dust it down, like, yeah, kind of like, yeah, like dusting your shoulders off, right? Like standing up and all right, that happened. It's over. Let's move. Yeah, let's go from one moment into the other. Let's transition this energy. This is nice. I'm liking this because it's fast movement. You notice one falling into the other. It's like vitality. It's literally, it feels like a shift in perspective, a shift in, because this is your personal reading. So this is all internal, you know, the internal energy moving through you is this great shift in perspective, this powerful shift in your energetic field. It's like I got it, you know. I think that's just how it feels. And it's accompanied here with breakup, separation, and the dragonfly. Again, we're going into this sense where it's like, you're okay, you know. But it's not just okay as in, you know, that chapter is over, and you know, sit by the bay, kind of okay, looking at the river, okay. But this is like a okay and feeling it, fun, vitality. I just keep saying the same words over and over, you know. It's just because it feels like there's like a passion like moving through my veins, you know. It's like this, like the sun just came and said, go. Right? Obviously, we see action here because you're doing what it is that you need to do in order to end the pattern. But frankly, it seems like the pattern is just ending for you. It's just over. It's just over. That whatever energy that was keeping you down, you're going to see a big shift in terms of your emotional health as well. I know in October, we talked so much about your emotional health and what was going on with you in that realm. And in this case, we just see fire, you know, like. And I think I've mentioned recently, I don't remember what reading it was, where I was talking about fire being a purifier a lot of the time. And in this case, you kind of see that same energy where it's just like, I just got up, you know, and it's like getting up and realizing like, oh, I remember who I am, you know, or it's just a different energy. The muckiness is over, like walking out of the water when you've been in a little bit too long, you know, you're a little pruny and stuff. So what's interesting is, through breaking up in the separation, so stopping the pattern of wherever it is that you have been, that has been the opposite of this King of Wands energy, and just fast forward movement into getting out, going into a space of healing, just letting what it is that has been go, and stepping into a space that is, again, more lighthearted, healing. I love the fact that the dragonfly is accompanied here with the Six of Swords, especially when we're talking about healing, being more lighthearted, adapting to change, evolving, stepping out, you know. It's like the pattern ends, the narrative ends, and then boom, here you are with confidence, power, passion, fast. In your shadow, we see the ashe of cutlass with the Five of, I was going to say wands, but canes, the Five of canes. So clearly we see here that your fear is what it is that you know, that as if some kind of information is going to come in and kind of cut you down. That you could also be dealing with, again, like modes of competition. This is specific for you guys who deal with a lot of shyness, kind of feeling like if you step out in this new kind of confident energy, vitality, movement, it's like that worry that someone somewhere is going to cut you down. Like this cutlass feels very sharp, you know, like some information is going to come in and tell you, no, you cannot do that. People, a crowd, an old paradigm, because especially if you're used to like scapegoat syndrome or something like that, or feeling like whenever you step out, something knocks you down, which is common based on the Capricorn Pluto. That literally was happening to you, you know, like you, especially for those of you guys who have strong Leo placements, if you stepped out into the spotlight, somebody was always there to cut you down, always there to keep you stuck in that way. If you lifted your head, something was always there to kind of put your head back into the sand. So this era has come to a close, right? You can be this King of Wands. You can move forward with passion and vitality. It is actually okay. The karmic narrative or the karmic cycle is actually complete. But you know, there's fear here. What I'm afraid of what someone's going to say. Something, some kind of, again, clarity, some cut through the clouds that shows me that, you know, someone or, you know, group of people or the law or and law can be many different things. You know, I talked about you guys who are dealing with legal matters because of what's going on with the transits. But it can, that law energy represents, again, something going against resistance, because you guys tend to deal with things like that because you are Capricorns, because you are the 10th house. Okay. So you and Scorpio tend to oftentimes find yourself in some kind of dynamic, even if it's not literal legal matters. It can be things where power comes into conversation, power plays, power struggles, power dynamics. You guys tend to attract a lot more competition than Scorpio does. So it tends to kind of really fall on you because you can end up in situations where you're having competition with people who are authorities themselves, who are in positions of power themselves. So it's kind of that, like this, but again, this is minor, you know, I mean, we all have minor arcanas here, but I love when I see minor arcanas in the shadows, because it's not like this energy is terrifying you. It's just kind of like a little, you know, I hope no one comes around the corner and tries to stop my shine, you know, tries to kind of humble me or like, you know, sit on your head a little bit, right? But it's nothing too crazy to worry about. A little competition has never hurt anyone. When we look at what's going on in the healing, for your advice here, we've got what is already with you, which she feels she knows. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that is wonderful because of the way it accompanies itself with the King of Wands. And this is also fire for me. So we've got fire, 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 right? And it's like this deep understanding, this like knowing that you are what it is. Or I'm sorry, you have what it is that it takes, right? Or yeah, you are what it is. You are what it is. You have what it is that it takes. And I apologize for my stuttering, but this energy feels very intense. Like it's kind of a little overwhelming. It feels like again, like sun, like the sun is like living inside of me, if you get what I mean. And I didn't feel that way before I got into this reading. So it's kind of a lot to process. It's not a negative energy. It's just, it feels really good. It's like golden hour in that sense. And this is here with your healing point being Bath Call. And I'm going to read this for you guys as I always do, but I'll tell you right now, Bath Call is all about, it's kind of my stepping out of anxiety card, you know, again, allowing complicated ideas, anxieties, fears, worries, all those things in the mind to kind of be burned off, because this is a fire energy. So it goes into that same perspective. There's nothing to be anxious or scared about here. This is not going to happen. You're not going to have to worry about this. The pattern is over. Things are working in your favor because you are who it is that you are. It's like one thing about the King of Wands is he can be so boastful. You know, he's the king of pride. He's the king of just raw confidence, you know. It is what it is because I say it is. You know, we're going to do it the way we're going to do it because I said so. The King of Wands is the king that walks out with all the gold and the brightest clothes, you know, in that sense of the warm colors, like the reds and the oranges and the yellows, you know, and he walks out and he shows us who he is. His energy is big and it's unapologetic. His smile is bright. He's full of charm in that sense. And sometimes you don't always know what it is that he does, you know, because the King of Wands, like the King of Pentacles, is a boss as well. But you don't always even know what it is that he does. It's just whatever it is that he does, you know, he does it well. And he enjoys his life and he enjoys his experiences. He enjoys his wine. He enjoys his women. You know, that's the King of Wands energy. And one thing about the King of Wands, like I said, is it doesn't matter what it is that he does. He just knows that he deserves it. He deserves the best. He deserves to win. He deserves to succeed because he just feels like he is that guy. You know, I'm that guy. I am the one, you know. And so that's what's beautiful, because you're now stepping into a space of your own confidence, of understanding that. And all year, you know, we've been touching on the fact that things, especially in the first half, things get taken away from you in order for you to understand your 10 of Cups. The first 6-month reading that I did for 2024, we saw the 10 of Cups as the overarching energy. And it was, and constantly you guys kept seeing that there were some dark hours. There were some dark months, you know, especially February, April, a little bit of March and things like that, you had these moments where things weren't so happy and things were being taken away from you, or you were dealing with difficult situations. But the reason why was to get you to understand the 10 of Cups energy. And in that reading, I kept talking about how the 10 of Cups in this case is not about complete happiness. You know, the 10 of Cups is the bliss of the baby with the bathwater, the bliss of the satisfaction of what it is that you have. My reference for the 10 of Cups is, you know, that couple that is, you know, let's say they're both the same age, they're both 24, and they've just gotten their first place together, and they don't have much furniture, they don't have children, they don't have much of anything. It's just them. And they moved into a place, you know, they got like some house that is not very expensive and it's out down at the end of the road. But you know what? They have love and they're happy. They genuinely love each other. They did not choose each other because their families told them to. They did not choose each other because of who has what and status. And they chose each other just out of raw love. And they got married in that love. And that love is what's beginning their life. And it's that 10 of Cups because it's understanding we don't have it all. We don't have everything. And more than likely, that couple won't have their 10 of Pentacles probably for another 10 years. You know, when they're 34, they're going to have their 10 of Pentacles. You know, they already had the babies and they moved to a bigger house and, you know, better jobs and things like that, right? But in that 24 hour, they're just in love. And they don't need it all. And they don't want it all. They just want to be together. They just want to be with each other. You know, have their friends come over and bask in their love. And that's what's beautiful about the 10 of Cups. In the first half of the year, we saw that 10 of Cups energy about the losses and the difficulties that you were going through in the first half of the year was about getting you to understand that what it is that you have is enough. You don't need to chase that 10 of Pentacles. Just because Pluto is out of Capricorn, and you guys can have this big picture thinking, especially when you take losses, you guys can pick yourselves up and kind of do a lot to get yourself to the next level. You know, okay, I fell down, I have to go all the way up. And that can be the way in which you trap yourself. The universe, you know, the divine had to break you down to show you that there were so many beautiful things in the things that you thought you did not have. To slow down and appreciate the true art of abundance, which is what prepares you guys to be the wealthy individuals of the new era, of the new age, and in the age of Aquarius, because you're understanding wealth in your second house, the true wealth of the new paradigm, because old wealth is no longer. New wealth looks very different, and you guys know what that new wealth looks like, right? So anyway, so I'm going back into this space. When it comes to that energy, it's like understanding that you have it all, right? It's all with you in that sense. It's not outside of you. It's not in the hands of anyone else. You know, it's not something that someone else can give to you. That the beauty of this King of Wands reminds me again of that 10 of Cups energy that you were in the first half of the year, where you were getting to this space where you needed to understand that it's not on the outside, it's within the inside. And the way in which things have been, especially since September 1st with your Capricorn retrograde, has been about building your confidence. You know, you guys have had to revisit your insecurities, especially during the month of October. You had to revisit your insecurities in order to understand that actually you're much more valuable than you once thought. And it's, again, not always about what it is that's on the outside, but who it is that lives on the inside. So anyway, so we're going to do, we're going to go into, I feel like this reading is quite long already. We're going to go into the readings. So we've got Bath Call. Eschew complicated explanations as you seek the simplicity of the deepest truth of your heart. Gently but firmly cast aside that which does not resonate as being true for your heart. Focus on and speak from a higher spiritual perspective. All prayers are answered at the perfect time and in the perfect way. You have a powerful voice which can foster healing and wisdom on our planet. So again, we go back into this King of Wands energy. When the King of Wands speaks, everyone listens. His voice is vibrant, powerful, but also charming to listen to. Boastful, but in a way that is endearing. And on the bottom here, this is a water energy, so we have fire with water, all right? Do not give up, but allow your heart to disengage from your struggles. It keeps saying the same thing, disengage from your struggles. Eschew complicated explanations. Give yourself much needed rest. You are in a phase of recovery. Six of Swords here. If you have been off your path, you are going to come back strong. You will regain your spark of passion, inspiration, and devotion. A certain order of events needs to take place for your soul path to come into fruition. Commit yourself to a sacred journey, trusting that the right thing will happen at the right time. What's beautiful about this is obviously the fact that this came up next to she feels she knows. So what is already with you lets you know not to overcomplicate things, right? And especially as it sits next to Bath Call. And then here we have this sitting next to she feels she knows, which adds to the same feeling of, okay, things are not in the timing that you are expecting, right? But this, I'll be completely honest, this does not feel like you're in much of a waiting period, just because I see the Eight of Wands here with the Six of Swords and the King of Wands. I think this has been where you've been. And I think that whatever patience that you're practicing throughout this month literally comes to you within the month. As in the patience of the beginning of the month, the clarity comes at the end of the month. This does not feel like a big wait time. It's more like a you just needing to, again, trust within yourself, disengage from your struggles, step into a space that's more confident, more knowing, in that this lighthearted adaptation is on its way to you. And order the certain order of events that need to play out, allow those things to transform and transition, especially if what it is that you guys are closing out are things that feel very big in that sense, things that things that are maybe, again, I've mentioned legal matters, but also like personal issues, love issues. It's like you're walking into November not necessarily knowing the answers, okay? You don't have all the explanations with you. You don't have all the explanations with you, but as you don't have all of those answers per se, it's allowing you to go into a space where it's more, okay, don't pressurize yourself, don't overdo things, allow your energy to relax, because things are already playing out, and your confidence does that for you. Your sense of confidence heals those potential wounds for you that separate you from your intuition in terms of she feels she knows, because this also comes from a lot of confidence. Hold on one second. Here we're going to go into what's at the bottom of the deck. So at the bottom of the tarot, we have the Tower with the Devil energy. So the Tower upright with the Devil in reverse. And what is so interesting about these two, because obviously we see that the overarching energy is some kind of big shakeup, some kind of big change. And with the Devil in reverse, it's letting us know that the era of toxicity has come to an end, right? This kind of heavy tie, and the Devil is you. Right? But in this case, I wouldn't say that it's about your personal empowerment. It's about the things that bind you, right? The things that have kept you stuck in that sense. And all we have here is this beautiful forward movement, this healing energy. So this big change in terms of how things have been navigating, or what it is that you've been used to, which is pretty much this Devil upright energy, which is you pretty much either having to be in this energy yourself in order to navigate your different experiences, because it feels like this weighted back and forth in terms of how you're navigating things, but also what has been keeping you bound, tied, stuck, right? There's this big change and shakeup that happens, but remember, this is your personal reading. So this is a change that's happening inside of you. This is a transition that's happening within yourself, and that's breaking you free from the bonds of the Devil energy that has been keeping you trapped and stuck within this time period. From there, we have at the bottom of the healing deck, I wanted to go into relax the hold of darkness and be at cause, right? And on the bottom of that, we have diving for light. So it keeps bringing us back into the same subject, right? What does it mean to separate yourself from what has been keeping you stuck and trapped? The toxic karmic cycles, those chains, the things that have... because I want you guys to look at this energy. Because we talk so much about the Devil energy in a more positive light, especially here on SeaGoat Secrets, because this is the SeaGoat energy. But in this case, it holds a more traditional meaning, okay? And that traditional meaning is letting go of all of the chains and all of the toxic connections. I mean, I'm saying toxic, but it's so much deeper than that, right? We're talking about personal energy, what's going on inside of the self, the emotional, psychological, spiritual weight. This is a big change. And no wonder it's accompanied here with the tower in terms of this overarching energy and the passion that I was kind of feeling inside when it came to this like sun bright energy, because none of these are major arcanas, but what is clarifying them are two of some of the most powerful major arcanas in the deck in terms of showing big transformation. When you see the tower with the devil in reverse, that's one big change. And this newfound sense of confidence in movement is that this letting go, this weight lift, the pattern ends. It ends. Right. And so it's like asking you to go into this space where you're going into your subconscious and separating yourself from the life that you knew, right? Waiting for this darkness to find you, or for this, like these monsters to come out on the other side, right? If you walk into one room, there's going to be a shadow there. If you walk into one space, there's going to be another shadow. So it's a matter of you understanding that that shadow is no longer. And even that goes into, again, the patience that you're exercising this time around when it comes to this month, because I don't see anything that says that what it is that you desire is away from you. This is a personal. So it's more like allowing yourself to step into a more ease and more of a graceful energy of understanding that you can trust your intuition, that you don't have to be on top of and in control of and aware of every single thing around you, because how do you say, it will not crumble. In that sense, right? The devil energy is not chasing you anymore. Literally, Pluto is not chasing you anymore, right? The Capricorn and Pluto transit. At the bottom of the clarity deck, we've got I like you. Romance is blooming, fun, flirting kind of energy. So again, more light-hearted energies. More of this, it's almost like you're feeling the kiss from the energy around you, which is nice. At the bottom of the shadow deck, to no surprise, we see the Five of Swords. The Five of Cutlass. And, you know, we've got the Five of Wands with the Five of Cutlass. Those two things together are literally fear of a fight, right? Especially when we're seeing the Five of Cutlass with Ashe of Cutlass, and then the Five of Canes. And again, it's going into this space where it's like you're afraid that there's someone's going to cut through with a sword and tell you what you can and cannot do in that sense, right? Afraid of the smoke coming through coming through the window and breaking down this newfound happiness that you have. And with that Five of Canes backed up by that Five of Cutlass, again, it's like afraid of a bloody battle, afraid of the wars, the things that you've already been dealing with. We don't see, again, a fear of a tower. So your energy will be lighthearted during this time period. You're going to feel this on an internal level, which is nice. It's going to feel like a big difference, right? Like that overarching tower energy, which is nice. But, you know, in the back of your mind, it's what's going to happen next? You know, who's going to come around? Like, what fight is around the corner, right? Which is quite interesting in that sense. Next to this, we have at the healing point, we've got my Queen of Wands with the 7 blessings of Eve. And the thing about this Queen of Wands energy is it's all about outgrowing your past. Okay, this came up for I believe it was the Scorpio new moon video, which is all about understanding that you are swiftly outgrowing your past and not attaching yourself. And this is good because we have here with this one, Anapasis. She's in that same perspective. Anapasis, I believe, is in the same perspective of you separating from that old need to control and like have this anxiousness and, you know, when will it happen? When will this happen? It's like stepping into a more ease and graceful kind of energy, right? Like surrendering to not only divine timing, but the divinity within this own narrative tied to things not being as pressurized. And of course, the temptation to revisit old ways of believing and seeing and, you know, understanding things because you feel like you have to protect yourself. What's going on in your shadows? Like your ego is ready to protect you because it's used to that war, right? And it's stepping out of that war more than you did previously, right? So no surprises when it comes to the 7 blessings of Eve. I will read for you because it is it has the snake in the egg, right? And the snake in the egg is the notion of rebirth. This is an old alchemic symbol. A spiritual gift shall enter your heart and manifest as a blessing in your life. This is also earth, right? So we've got fire, water, and left us in earth. And in the fears, we have more yang. Your heart, shall enter your heart and manifest as a blessing in your life. You have innate talents and abilities which will support your soul into full glorious manifestation. You have been blessed with a beautiful divine destiny to fulfill your natural healing ability. Choose your thoughts and your words so they reflect that which you wish to put into the world, because your influence is stronger than you realize. The thing about this is this reminds me of what's going on here. There's a responsibility for you to not overly attach yourself to the negative notions of the past, and to actively put yourself into a space where you are speaking that which you want to experience, right? This is like the undertoned theme going on here, especially when we're looking at the confidence of the King of Wands, the confidence of she feels, she knows, the confidence of what is already with you, right? Understanding how to be more lighthearted. And it's up to you to break the pattern, right? To put the axe down and say no to what once was and yes to what it is that you want to actually be. So that is, I would say that's what another thing as well, because remember when we saw diving for light, more action steps, right? More fire, that 8 of Wands, more action in terms of you being the person that sets the new tone. I'm just going to wrap up with doing what it is that let's ask some questions. Who it is that you need to be? What is it that you need to know? What is it that you need to feel? So be, know, feel, right? Strength card fell out. Be, know, feel. And ironically enough, the strength card came out when I was shuffling. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Hangman. Be, know, feel. This is interesting. Okay, so remember how we just had this entire conversation about how you're breaking bonds with the devil? Who it is that you need to be is also the devil. So for those of you who do not know, kind of like what I've been mentioning, Capricorn is the devil tarot card. In terms of the overarching energy, you're stepping away from obviously all the negative things usually tied to the devil tarot card. But in this case, when it comes to who it is that you need to be, it's you redefining that energy for yourself, which is stepping into your optimum mode of personal empowerment. And I think this also came up recently. You having to be the devil again is something that I think came up last month, but I don't remember. But again, it's you putting yourself into a space of more personal empowerment, strength, optimum. How do you say? There's a word that is rolling off my tongue. But it's like not finding me. It's not finding me. But it's kind of like you in this kind of big boss energy when it comes to the King of Wands. The devil is when you really step into your power and your confidence. But this time, again, you're breaking free from the ways in which you were chained in a negative sense to the traditional devil. And you're now empowered in that same energy. It's understanding that you are the devil. The devil does not control you, right? What is it that you need to know? We've got the Knight of Wands, so obviously you will prevail. The Wounded Warrior, which is usually associated with Aries, especially Chiron. But in this case, all the things that have come up until this point are pretty much null and void in terms of you getting to the next level. What's interesting is we have the Nine of Wands in terms of what is it you need to know, what is it you need to feel is the Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands is all about fast movement, which we saw here. So double confirmation on you just getting the hell out, right? Doing everything that you need to do in order to quickly and swiftly put yourself into a new direction. I wanted to get some clarity on the Nine of Wands in terms of what is it you need to know, and then also some clarity on the devil. Just with another one of the decks, and I promise we're going to wrap up. It's just this month is such a powerful change. It's such a big transition. And I love the way in which you're getting out of the chains of one and into the power seat of the other. This world does not control you. You control this world. You are the master of alchemy. Saturn does not govern you. You govern Saturn. Okay. Devil and Nine of Wands. And at the bottom, we have sweet success, which was kind of pretty. All right, so when we're looking at what it is that you need to know, we've got danger. Danger is accompanied with the Nine of Wands in terms of taking too many risks, can be difficult to control, stop and think about it. And this message is quite intense, especially as it's coming with the Nine of Wands. And we'll get into that into a second. But what it is that, who it is that you need to be with fertility and the devil, I think this energy is really beautiful. Mainly because, again, it's like stepping out of a space where you're not so focused on traditionally, this is a career deck. So it's saying, like, you know, don't sacrifice family for career and things like that. But in this case, when it comes to this energy in specific, it's saying a different message. It's more about you stepping into a space that is self-priority, right? Not being bound, chained, or overly focused on the things that sit outside of you. Again, going back to that devil in reverse energy, right? It's time to take care of you. It's time to take care of yourself, right? Developing personal empowerment in terms of the internal narrative, right? Being more confident, more self-focused without apology, more how you say, well rested in your own energy in that sense, right? It's like stepping away from the outside world and stepping into you. Really, really caretaking in terms of your own self and your own identity. And that's where your personal empowerment comes from. And I'm really loving this, really, really loving this energy. When what it is that you need to know, when we see danger in terms of taking a lot of risks with the Knight of Wands, I think that's interesting because this no energy, right? In terms of the Nine of Wands, it can be, again, the wounded warrior, somebody who's pushing forward, trying to get what it is that they need to get. But now that I see this here with the danger energy, this might be your very problem, okay? It's like putting yourself into this space where you've been overdoing it and pressurizing and pressurizing. Let the wands go. Step back into the Eight of Wands. Step away from the Nine of Wands and step back into the Eight of Wands. A more lighthearted and fast-moving energy. If it feels too difficult, stop doing it. If it feels too weighted, let it go, SeaGoat. You're addicted to the idea of being the Nine of Wands because you've had to be the Nine of Wands for a long time, right? But as we can see here, that energy is over. You already have it. The Nine of Wands keeps doing what it is that he's doing because what it is that he needs is not already with him, right? It's not inside of him. You can step out of this energy and put yourself back into the Eight of Wands. Move forward because what it is that you already need is in your hands. So I'll leave you guys with that. And I love you. Happy, lovely, joyous end of an era. Pluto moving out of your sign for all of eternity. Well, not all of eternity, but eternity as your current human body is experiencing it. This is a powerful time. It's a beautiful shift, okay? Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, okay? The devil does not control you. You control the devil. I love you. Ciao.